friends. I'm glad you're here. I'm Doug Ballinger, Logan's dad. Today's episode is one I've both dreaded and felt urgently called to record because it hits so close to home. If you're listening, you may already know that my son Logan died from fentanyl poisoning. Not an overdose, a poisoning. And if you take nothing else away from today's episode, I want it to be this: the world of drugs is not what it used to be. It isn't about the stoner in the 90s smoking a joint behind the school or the party kid trying ecstasy on a Friday night. This is about pills that look like medicine, prescription strength, name brand pills, but are made in dirty labs with no quality control and laced with something so powerful it can take your child's life in under a minute. This is about kids dying after taking just one single pill. This episode is especially for parents, caregivers, educators, anyone who loves a young person and wants to keep them safe. Because fentanyl isn't just hiding in heroin anymore. It's showing up in things you'd never expect. Fake Xanax, fake Adderall, even vape cartridges and marijuana in some reports. And it's being sold through Snapchat and Instagram, sometimes by other kids who think they're just making a few bucks on the side. The person handing it to your child might not even know they're holding a weapon. Now, I don't want to scare you for the sake of scaring you. I want to inform you, prepare you, and hopefully empower you. I wish someone had pulled me aside and explained all of this back when Logan was still alive. Maybe it wouldn't have changed what happened. Maybe it would have. But now, this is what I can do. This is how I fight for him. So let's talk about it. About how fentanyl gets into everything and what drug dealers don't want you to know. Let's get started. Let's talk briefly again about what is fentanyl and why it's so dangerous. Let's start with some basics because the word fentanyl gets thrown around a lot, but I've found that most people don't actually understand what it is. And I'll be honest, I didn't either until it was too late. As we talked about in an earlier episode, fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. That means it's man-made, cooked up in a lab. It was originally created for pain relief, the kind of pain that comes from surgery or end-of-life care. In a hospital setting, it's incredibly effective and measured in micrograms. I mean, this stuff is so potent that doctors and nurses wear gloves just to handle it. It's 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. Let that sink in. 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. But what's on the streets today is not medical grade fentanyl. It's an illicit version, cooked up in illegal labs, often in China or Mexico, and smuggled across our border in powder form. From there, it's pressed into pills, cut into other drugs, or just bagged and sold on its own. And here's the thing that still guts me to say: it only takes 2 milligrams of fentanyl to kill someone. That's not even enough to cover Lincoln's beard on a penny. We're talking about something you can't smell, see, or taste, and it's being mixed into street drugs with zero consistency or quality control. So if your kid, or your friend, or your sibling is someone who just dabbles or only uses on the weekends, it doesn't matter. One moment of curiosity, one pill from a party, one line from a friend, and it could be the end. Let me say it again. This isn't an overdose. It's a poisoning. Most people taking these counterfeit pills aren't trying to get high on fentanyl. They think they're taking a Xanax to calm down, or an Adderall to study, or maybe just trying to take the edge off after a rough day. and they don't even get the chance to regret it. And what breaks my heart is this: fentanyl has changed the rules. The old drug talk we grew up hearing, the one about gateway drugs and just say no, it doesn't cover this. Our kids are living in a world where one mistake can be fatal, not because they were deep into addiction, but because they were deceived. That's what we're dealing with. And I know it's heavy, but that's why we have to keep talking. Because the only way to protect the people we love is to stay informed. Next, we're going to talk about how fentanyl is getting into everything. I mean, everything. Pills, powders, even street weed. And why the people selling it, they don't care. Some of them don't even know they're selling it. Let's break it down. When people think of fentanyl, a lot of them still imagine a tiny little patch at a hospital or some baggie of powder in a dark alley, but that's not what we're talking about anymore. Fentanyl is being mixed into almost every street drug out there, and the person using it has no idea it's even there. Let's start with the biggest one: fake pills. These things are terrifying. I'm talking about pills that look exactly like real prescription medications. Same size, same shape, same color, even stamped with the same letters and numbers that pharmacies use. They look like Xanax, Percocet, Adderall, Oxycontins, even Vicodin. But they're not made in a lab. They're made in somebody's garage or a cartel-run pill press mill, using binding powders, food coloring, and fentanyl. And because the people that are mixing and pressing these pills have no concern about consistency, one pill could have nothing in it and the next one could kill you instantly. There's no way to tell the difference just by looking. Even DEA lab tests have found entire batches of pills where some had nearly lethal doses and others almost had none, all pressed from the same batch. I can only imagine that somebody's sitting there with a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket, mixing up some stuff and getting it ready to sell to make some fast money. And here's the part that really hit me in the gut. These fake pills are everywhere. High schools, college campuses, music festivals, Snapchat, Instagram, you name it. They're cheap, easy to get, and they're being sold to kids who think they're taking something safe. Let's be completely real here. A teenager under pressure, trying to get through the finals, or battling anxiety may think popping a Xanax will help. What they don't know is that pill didn't come from a pharmacy. It came from a pill press in a pill mill that doesn't care whether they live or die. And it's not just pills. Fentanyl is being mixed in with cocaine, heroin, meth, and Molly. Why? Because drug dealers are businessmen. Not really good ones, but they are. It's horrible, but the truth is, fentanyl is cheap, powerful, and addictive, which makes it profitable. If they cut a little bit into a batch of heroin or coke, it stretches the supply and keeps their customers coming back. Except now, more and more of those customers aren't coming back because they're not waking up. Someone using or experimenting thinks they're doing a line of cocaine at a party and ends up unconscious. Their friends think they're just really high. They don't realize that without Narcan and immediate help, that person could die in minutes. And now, here's something that gets debated, but it's important to talk about. There are growing reports of fentanyl being found in street marijuana. Some people swear it's fear mongering, others say it's rare or exaggerated, but I don't care if it's rare. One time is too many. If you're buying weed off the street or for someone who knows a guy, there's no way to know what's been sprayed on it or what else it's been exposed to. Some laced marijuana has tested positive not just for fentanyl, but other synthetic chemicals and poison. The same thing goes for vape cartridges and dab pens. These devices get passed around, bought online, sold out of backpacks. You think you're hitting strawberry flavored THC oil, and it turns out to be laced with fentanyl or synthetic cannabinoids that wreak havoc on your system. There's no regulation, no oversight, and no guarantees. So let's just pause here for a minute and take this in. We live in a world where a kid can die trying something one time. Not because they were addicted, not because they were reckless, but because they were deceived. This is why I'm saying we're not fighting the old war on drugs anymore. This is something new, something far more lethal. It's not the drugs themselves that scare me most anymore. It's the fact that nobody really knows what's in them. And what's even worse, a lot of the people selling this stuff don't know either. They're just trying to make money. They buy a bulk batch from a source they found on Telegram or Snapchat. They don't test it. They don't care. They cut it, bag it, press it into pills, and boom, your child could be one DM away from a death sentence. You know, when Logan was younger, I never imagined we'd be living in a world like this. If someone told me back then that fentanyl would one day be hidden in fake Adderall or vape pens, I would have thought they were exaggerating. But now I know better. Now I know too much. That's why I'm sharing it with you. Because maybe you still have a chance to protect your kid. And next, we're going to dive into how those drugs are being sold, who's selling them, and why they don't want you to know. Because trust me, it's not just shady men on the street corners anymore. It's happening in your child's pocket, on their phone, on apps you may not even know they have. All right, let's talk about the part that's the hardest to wrap our heads around. Because we all want to believe we'd see it coming, right? We want to believe our kids are smart, that they'd never trust some shady guy in a hoodie, that they'd know if something wasn't safe. But here's the truth. The people selling drugs today aren't the same as they were 20 years ago. And the way they're selling them, completely different. When I was young, there were no cell phones. We had a phone in the house, attached to the wall, with a cord to the handset, not a small computer in our hand. And the apps that our children are using today, and the slang that they're using, is something that's difficult to keep up with. So parents out there, educators, caregivers, please be aware of what's on your children's phones. You're the adult. You set the rules. Today's kids don't even have to leave the house to find drugs anymore. They don't have to sneak out after their parents are asleep. They can literally be sitting in their bedroom scrolling through their phone and have a dealer lined up in minutes. Apps like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram, they've become digital drug markets. You've got people, sometimes strangers, sometimes classmates, advertising pills with emojis. And unless you know what you're looking for, it just looks like harmless teenage texting. Let me break it down a little bit. When they're having these text conversations, they use emojis to try to cover up what it is they're talking about. There might be a little pill emoji or a gas pump emoji, slang for potent drugs, or a blue box with a P in it for Percocet, a skull for fentanyl. Come on, a skull for fentanyl. They know that that's going to kill people. A checkered flag is the finish line or death. A little flame might mean a strong product. A rainbow might mean rainbow fentanyl. And a plug on a power cord is a dealer. So when you see conversations that look like just a bunch of emojis, it might not be a joke. It might be a drug deal in progress. And the thing is, these dealers aren't always hardened criminals. A lot of the time, it's just a kid trying to make some quick money. Maybe someone from school, maybe a friend of a friend, maybe even someone your child trusts. And here's the terrifying part. They don't know what they're selling. They're not pharmacists. They're not testing the product. They're just reselling pills or powders they bought in bulk online or through someone else. They may not even know the pills are pressed in a pill mill. They may have no clue that there's fentanyl in that Adderall knockoff. Or maybe they do know, and they just don't care. Because to them, it's just money. It's a business. And if someone dies, well, there's always another buyer. And let me tell you something I learned the hard way. These dealers, these so-called plugs, aren't losing sleep over our dead kids. They're not at the funerals. They're not holding a mother while she screams into the ground. They're not sitting on the bathroom floor trying to breathe while their world falls apart. I've done that. I've lived that. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But do you think the dealer that sold Logan that last fatal dose was thinking about any of that? No, probably not. They were thinking just about getting paid. And at some level, I think these dealers know that their customers might die, because you rarely get to buy drugs from a dealer on credit. That would require you coming back and paying them at a later date. And oftentimes that doesn't happen. And that's why it's so important we understand what we're up against. This isn't just about addiction anymore. It's about deception. It's about how one transaction can kill someone. So what do? We talk, we ask questions, we look at their phones, we learn the language, we get uncomfortable. Because being uncomfortable now might save your child's life later. And listen, I know it's hard. I know it feels like you're invading their privacy or not trusting them, but fentanyl doesn't care about privacy. It doesn't care how good your kid is. It doesn't care how well you raised them. It only takes one time. I wish I could go back and have this conversation with Logan. I wish I had understood what he was up against. I wish I had known how far fentanyl had crept into the world around him. But now I can't go back. What I can do is try to spread awareness and make sure you know. What I can do is use Logan's story to keep someone else from getting that knock on the door, from finding their child unresponsive, from burying someone they love. That's why I'm here. That's why this podcast exists. I know I talked about it in a previous episode, but we're going to talk about it again about what you can actually do with this information, how to talk to your kids, what to say, what not to say, and how to help them understand that what they think is just a pill might be their last. So by now, your head might be spinning. You're probably thinking, okay, this is terrifying, but what do I actually do with this information? How do I talk to my kid without pushing them away? How do I bring this up without sounding like I'm accusing them or turning it into another lecture they tune out? I get it. I've been there. And I can tell you right now, you don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get it going. Start that conversation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. First things first, there is no right time. Don't wait for a major crisis or a school assembly or a viral news story. If something in your gut says now, then now is the time. You don't need a PowerPoint. You don't need a script. You just need to show up as a parent who cares more about protecting their child than being comfortable. Here's a place to start. Hey, I heard something the other day and it really shook me. I learned that fentanyl, this crazy strong drug, is being mixed into all kinds of pills, even ones that look like real medicine. People are dying after just taking one. I don't want to scare you, but I love you and I want to make sure you know what's out there. That's it. It doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't have to unload everything at once. Just open the door. Because once the door's open, you can build a relationship where they can come to you, not run from you when they need help. Let's talk about what not to do. This one's really hard, especially when we're scared or emotional, but here are a few things to avoid. Don't accuse them. Even if you suspect they're experimenting, leading with anger or suspicion shuts people down. Don't shame them. Addiction and curiosity aren't moral failures. They're human. Shame builds walls. Compassion builds trust. Don't let stigma get in the way. And don't lecture them. A monologue rarely leads to change. Instead, ask questions. What do your friends say about this stuff? Or do you know anyone who's tried fake pills? You might be surprised how much they're willing to share if they don't feel judged. And focus on facts. Keep it real. Let them know what's out there. Don't water it down. You don't need scare tactics. The truth is scary enough. Say something like, it's not like it used to be when I was younger. People used to know what they were taking. Now it's a guessing game. And fentanyl is a loaded gun. And here's something else. They may already know more than you think. Our kids are smart, but being smart isn't enough in this environment. They need to know how to protect themselves and their friends. That includes understanding how fast fentanyl works and how it's literally impossible to tell a safe pill from a deadly one just by looking. Let's talk about safety, but without giving permission. This is tricky, but important. You can say things like, I know I can't control everything, but I hope that if you're ever in a situation where you're offered something, you'll remember this conversation. If something ever goes wrong, I don't care what time it is, where you are, or what you did, call me. I will come get you. No judgment, no lecture, just safety first. I know that's a tough one for parents. That kind of message builds trust. It tells them that you're a safe place to land. And that could be the very thing that saves your child's life. I've talked about this before, but I'm going to keep talking about it and keep talking about it. Normalize Narcan. Talk about Narcan like it's a fire extinguisher, something you hope you'd never need, but it's there just in case. Let your kid know where it is in the house. Better yet, give them one to carry in their backpack. Teach them how to use it. It doesn't make them a drug user, it makes them a protector, a friend, a potential lifesaver. And if you don't have Narcan yet, get some. Pharmacies, local health departments, nonprofits in many states, you don't need a prescription. Sometimes it's even free. I never got the chance to have these conversations with Logan the way I wish I had. I thought we had time. I thought if we could just get through the next challenge, the next phase, we'd be okay. But fentanyl doesn't wait and it doesn't care. So please, talk to your kids, talk to your students, your nieces, your nephews, your teammates, your friends. Have that awkward, messy, uncomfortable conversation now, so you're not having the impossible one later. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. If you don't know how to start with this episode. Play it in the car. Play it at the dinner table. Let me be the awkward one if that helps. Use my voice to open the door. And once it's open, walk through it together. Because I promise you, you'd rather have a tough talk now than be standing where I'm standing, trying to speak for someone who no longer can. If you've made it this far in the episode, thank you. I know this has been a heavy one, but I also know that the weight of this truth, this reality we're all living in, can't be ignored anymore. Because the fentanyl crisis isn't just a news headline. It's not just a statistic. It's a wave that's sweeping through communities, families, schools, and leaving heartbreak in its wake. I lost my son Logan to fentanyl poisoning. Not because he was weak, not because he was bad, but because he trusted the wrong person on the wrong day. And he never got another chance. Now I am his voice. And if I can reach just one parent, one teenager, one friend, if I can give someone the knowledge I didn't have in time, then Logan's story keeps going. Then his life and his light continue to make a difference in the world. I'm going to say it again. Here's what I want to leave you with today. Please talk to your kids. Have those awkward conversations, the messy ones, the emotional ones. Don't wait for the perfect moment. There's no such thing. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to be honest. And more than anything, you have to be willing to listen. Because you never know when one honest conversation might be the very thing that saves your child's life. In another episode, I'm going to dive into Narcan, what it is, how it works, and why every household should have it. It's not enabling. It's not a political issue. It's a life-saving tool. And I'm going to break it down in plain language so you'll feel confident, not intimidated. If you found this episode helpful or powerful in any way, I hope you'll share it. Text it to someone, post it, put comments under my Facebook post, send it to a parent group, someone you know may be struggling in silence. And this could be the thing that opens that door and lets them know that they are not alone. There are so many resources out there. Hope Movement Coalition's website, CWC Alliance website, and you're always welcome in Logan's Voice community. Until then, stay aware, stay connected, and stay human. And never forget, you are not alone. I am Logan's voice. I am Logan's dad. And I will not be silent any longer.